respond to some of these calls sometimes, I can't help but think, was there a rock of desire or a desire that I had set forth at some point to help bring whatever it is to
yes,
fruition?
Yes, because you are a soother. A soother is a solver. You are a soother. But our message to you is soothe incrementally and don't take upon yourself the responsibility of them being soothed. You just be a soother. Can you feel the difference? You just be a soother. It's up to them to be soothed. You just be a soother and give them an in-the-face option. You witnessed that here today. We stayed strong in our determination to soothe in some situations where there wasn't obvious in the beginning desire to be soothed. But unless someone is soothed, they're not receiving the benefit of their own resources. And you got to get your resources from your own source. You can't go to someone else. That's why we sent that beautiful girl back to her seat. She wants us, and we don't blame her because we're really smart. She wanted us to shed some light, but there isn't anything that we could tell her that she doesn't already know and doesn't already practice all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. So there are situations where you soothe. Esther was having a conversation with someone the other day, and Esther just loves this, pointing in this direction and not in opposition. And so this person was pointing in that direction and then that one, and then in opposition and more opposition and more opposition. And Esther would point in that direction and that direction and that direction. And then that person would too, and then in the other and then the other and the other. And after about a half an hour of that, Esther said, well, if you're not going to at least try to point in the direction of what you want. And of course they both laughed because they both were doing that. But sometimes it's just not the time. It's not because they don't want to or not because they're not capable of it. Just sometimes this isn't the time. That's why we say your inner being always knows right where you are. Do you believe in the existence of your inner being? We're not putting you on the spot, but if you feel like answering us, go ahead. Do you think your inner being is real?
Yes.
Do you think that your inner being is an extension of source energy?
Yes.
And do you think that you are too?
Yes.
Do you think that your inner being is aware of you as you're moving through your day? And do you think your inner being is enjoying your life experience, whether you are or not? And does that annoy you? Because those are not attributes of a good friend. A good friend would suffer when I'm suffering, but your inner being isn't like that, because your inner being does not suffer its way out of alignment and then be of no value to you whatsoever. Oh, here it is. You cannot cease to be what you have become. And do you know how many lifetimes you've lived? Do you know how source energy you are? You can't be less than that. And when you are, you don't feel so good. When you pinch yourself off, you don't feel so good. But no worries. You'll reemerge back into the non-physical, into the wholeness of what your life experiences have called you to be. We just don't think you should have to croak in order to feel better. And we think it's nice to meet somebody like you, who trusts and believes and knows, and who loves and who understands and who isn't shocked. It's nice to meet somebody who isn't shocked, because in your not shockedness, you can still soothe. If you were shocked, you couldn't soothe, but you've lived enough and you're not shocked because you're not condemning in what you're observing. Yeah?
I think that is very true.
Yeah.
When it comes to the aspect of soothing, when I was a child, was taught basic Christianity, and we'd pray and do different things to self-soothe. And as I've grown, I've gotten away from that and meditate.
Well, a lot of that is the same thing that we're talking about here. As Esther gets to know us better, she understands more religions better. Are they the answer that you're looking for? Not usually, because they get you outside of yourself and they want you to mind them and their rules rather than your own guidance, which is fluid and flexible and always on point and always the best you can do in any moment in time. And so they got themselves in a corner, most of them. They created these absolutes that nobody could live up to, and then they conjured up some forgiveness. don't want you to leave the church, so here's some forgiveness particles that you can sprinkle on yourself, you see.
As you see an event unfolding in front of you, I was driving down the road the other day. There's a vehicle in front of me, and I see this vehicle, and I'm like, they're going to crash at some point. And I watched her driving, and somebody that I work with was up the road in front of me. I'm like, I better pay attention to that license plate in case that person hits that other person. Well, a couple minutes go by, we're driving down the road. I don't know where this driver goes, not really paying attention to it. I'm having some great feeling thoughts. I'm thinking about Mother's Day, gifts I'm going to get for people and drop them off. And that car drives into the side of mine. Did I attract that, or did I desire that?
No, you didn't desire it, but your attention to it. People will say, I don't really believe in this deliberate creation stuff because stuff happens that I didn't intend. And we say, in a situation like that, we didn't say you intended it or wanted it, but we did say you focused upon it. As Jerry and Esther drove these monster buses, Prevost buses, 45 feet long, towing a car behind them, zigzagging around the nation for a long time. And they would go for thousands and thousands of miles and never see an accident. And then they would come up after one, or there'd be 2 or 3 in a row, and Jerry would say, time for us to tighten up our thinking, because this is getting a little too close for comfort. And so just pay attention to what's manifesting around you, because it always matches what's going on. For sure, for sure, for sure. We haven't said the words today, but we want to say them now. Pay attention to what your thoughts are, and pay attention to how the thoughts feel as you think them, and then pay attention to what happens and connect those dots. Show yourself that thoughts create and that feelings give you advance notice. It isn't that that was meant to be, but we really like ending with this, because we were hot on this new idea with you all of certainty, probability, possibility, unlikely. So think about what's going on in people's bags of marbles. And they're all around you. There's people, ne'er-do-wells, murderers, robbers, all kinds of people moving all around you in your society, but you don't match up because you're not a vibrational match. And being in the physical vicinity is not what it's about. It's being in the vibrational vicinity is what it's all about. So let's say that there were some unfocused people on their way to that, and logic, physics, understanding vibration, even your inner being's awareness, your inner being would have keen awareness of everything that's going on or probably going to go on in your environment. And so your inner being knows it, but your inner being doesn't warn you. And humans say, I could have used a warning. And we say, your inner being doesn't operate that way, because warnings are what all these wars are about. In other words, your inner being is an advocate. So you received the thought which gave you the opportunity to soothe. To soothe. Now, would you have stopped their accident? Unlikely. Would they have not run into you? More likely that they would not have. There was someone in the hot seat early on. We were having a seminar in San Francisco, and this person indignantly proclaimed, Abraham, this law of attraction thing is jacked up. I was driving along feeling good. In fact, she said, I was listening to one of your recordings. And I got pulled over, and they gave me a ticket. And we said, what was the ticket for? And she said, driving without my seatbelt. And we said, well, how do you feel about that? She said, I think it's a stupid law. I don't think I should have to buckle up. I don't think it's anybody's business but my own. So I kind of fake it sometimes, but I don't think anybody should tell me what I can and cannot do. And we said, so here you are, driving down the freeway with that stuck in your vibrational craw. We weren't talking about the bag of marbles in those days, but if we were having the conversation today, your bag of marbles having this big blaring resentment about people imposing their will upon you going on. So here's the policeman just out making a living. He's trolling for revenue up and down the freeways, just doing what he's supposed to do. And radiating out of the roof of your car is, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me. That really is how it works. We've enjoyed this day really a lot with you. And we can feel the movement in your point of attraction, can you? We're eager about what's going to happen next. It is our desire that you leave here not one bit guarded, because there's no reason to be, but sort of enlivened to the idea of your own guidance, eager about connecting those dots, more decided to intend, I intend that, I'm pointing there, I'm pointing there, I'm pointing there, and more decided to keep it clear, catch yourself in your contradictions, because you've got beliefs that contradict desires. Keep it clear, and then watch how universal forces, law of attraction, your inner being, all of those cooperative components just line up to give you a clue and another clue. Just notice how good your timing is. You're going to feel so blessed and so seen and so powerful with just a little bit of focus upon what we've been talking about here today. There is great love here for you. And for now, we are complete. That's good. I like this so much. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. Thank you.
If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next